Where are all the quiet kids? How many of you are quiet adults? Let me guess. You're afraid if you start talking more, you'll say something dumb. You'll be judged. You embarrass yourself? I was able to push through these concerns and shift quiet from being my entire identity to it just being an element of my personality. And I want to share my journey. Some years ago, I had my mom send me my kindergarten progress reports. And for most of the school year, it was pretty consistent. She does her work well, but she's very quiet. She's very studious. And then around February, the note said she's finally warming up to the teachers and the students. So I was a very quiet kid. My twin brother is someone who would go to anyone, and I would just kind of stay with my parents. He was very, extroverted. And I'm like, I'm cool with my parents. I don't want to mess with any of y'all. Additionally, because I'm an artist, as a kid, I could entertain myself all the time. I made up my own songs. I drew a lot. If there was a piece of wallpaper to stare at, I would just find pictures. Even in the popcorn ceilings, I just looked for pictures and I just could entertain myself. You could never say that I was bored. There were some people who were annoyed by my lack of communication skills. I met my best friend Alicia in middle school, and the way we met, we would sit at the lunch table and she would tell the same stories over and over again, and I just was a willing participant. I would even tell her when she was telling the same stories over and over again. I'm just like, all right. And so we played basketball together, and so we played basketball in middle school and high school together, and she always lived close by, whether that was a street in front with her aunt and uncle or a street behind with her cousin. So we were always taking her to basketball practice and driving her around. I would call her and I would tell her, my dad said, be ready at this time. My dad said this, my dad said that. At some point, she just had enough of it. And she was like, what do you say? I started working on this issue in college. I decided to learn how to string 2 sentences together, but I was still a work in progress. So my freshman year, I wanted to create this program called Celebrating Diversity Through the Arts, and I did that through the North Star Center. I had Haisha Robinson help me. We put this great program together for 2 years, and at each program, she would ask me, so do you want to say something on the mic? And I'm like, absolutely not, which is hilarious. I had enough gumption to put this program together, to put this idea into the world, but I still didn't like public speaking, and I refused to speak on the mic both 2 years. My sophomore year, I joined my sorority, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and this helped me expand my horizons a little bit more. Not suggesting that people join an organization, but this is just what happened for me. So I joined in April of 2006, and by May 2006, I had been elected president for the following year. So that encouraged me to talk more. I had to do more presentations, more speaking engagements. My junior and senior year, I realized that the programming that the Black Awareness Coordinating Committee was throwing to have racial discussions, the white people would never come. So I knew that my classmates had to participate, and I made every project or assignment that I had my junior and senior year about race and class, because one, I wanted to know what they thought, but it also encouraged me to hold my own debate and just be able to articulate myself more and communicate better. One way that I was forced to get better at communication was in my art classes. There were often times where I would present my project and I noticed that the people would have everything to say, the person before me and then the person after me, but they would kind of clam up when I would go. And so that didn't help me in trying to grow my artistic skills. So I would have to craft questions that would encourage them to give me my feedback, or at least my professor would see this and maybe give me critique, or I would have to actually ask my professor for critique as well. That was an unfortunate piece. I didn't feel like I was going to cuss anybody out. I was one of 2 Black people in my class, so I don't know if they were intimidated by me or something, but that was kind of annoying that I had to do, but it was a good practice of learning how to advocate for myself and make sure I got what I wanted out of my college experience. Let's address some of the worries from earlier. You're worried about saying something dumb. You think you're being judged. You're worried about making mistakes and embarrassing yourself. Something I had to realize is that people aren't paying attention to us as much as we think they are. We think people have these long memories, and they really don't. You could trip in front of a grocery store right now with 10 people watching you, and by the time they all get home, they will have forgotten that you tripped. They might forget while they're shopping. Practice letting it go. Breathe through it. Understand that you have control of your thoughts and let them dissipate. Or learn how to lean into your embarrassing moments and make a joke out of them. Whichever method you choose, practice makes better. As for me, now I have a voice. You're listening to it right now. Even though being quiet was my identity, I didn't swap it out for talking. Speaking is not my identity now. It's simply a part of the many ways I show up in the world. I expanded my toolkit, and now I have moments when I'm quiet and moments when I speak, and I get to determine when is the right moment for each skill. I am not in a prison of quietness. I'm able to communicate better to my family, to my friends, to my coworkers, to you. So what are your next steps? Here's an exercise. Initiate one uncomfortable conversation today or tomorrow. It could be outside, it could be online. You can give a compliment to someone you pass by on the street, or you can inbox someone and tell them how you always admired their work. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll get. Go start your Quiet Kid Rebellion. Becoming you is a daily practice. Who will you choose to become today?